Okay, I'll call the meeting to order for Wednesday, March 24th of the County Board. Jerry, you and Sandy need to punch in. No? Okay. Then everybody, please silence your cell phones if you have them, and we'll take a silent meditation. And please remember the first responders and the people in Colorado and Georgia. You don't know what the country's coming to some days. You can't even go to the grocery store now. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's one, that's two. Item number 3. Approval of the minutes from the February 24th, 20. A motion to approve by Randy Young, seconded by Gene Hoppy. Is there any questions or comments on the minutes? Okay, seeing none, then we can do this by acclamation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 4 is public comment, and due to the nature of one item on the agenda, I thought we were going to have a large member of the public here, members wishing to speak. And what I had asked anybody to do in the back, that if you would like to speak underneath public comment, there's a sheet in the back, and it asks for your name and your address, and if you mark that you would like to speak for or against. And is there anyone else here that would like to fill one of them out to speak one way or the other? Okay. Then I only have 3 people that will speak underneath public comment, and we'll take that right now. And we will start with Joel Gunther, I believe. Come forward, please, and up to the podium. And I was going to allow only 2 minutes, but since we only have 3, well, I'll up it to 3 minutes then. And you still won't be anywhere close to last month.
Hi, my name is Joe Gunther. I'm a physician. I've lived in Shawano County for 20 years. I've been a gun owner my whole life, a hunter, but I strongly oppose this resolution. We're a nation of laws, and Congress or the state legislators write these laws. Governors, presidents will pass them. Perhaps there's an executive order, an emergency. And it's not the job of the Shawano County Board or the Shawano County Sheriff to decide are these laws constitutional or not constitutional. That is the job of the courts. And I just wonder, if we look at the country, what's happened in the last couple of weeks? There's been shootings. Could they have been prevented with a background check in cases? Maybe, maybe not. Waiting period? Definitely so in one case. Assault weapons ban? Quite possible. High limits on magazine capacity? Very possible as well. I've hunted waterfowl my whole life. I've never had a problem with only having a gun with three shells in the magazine. There's no need for a 25, 50 shot clip unless you want to go out and do mass destruction to kill multiple people. As a physician, I've dealt with people who, solid, upstanding citizens their whole life, but due to mental illness, dementia, other changes, they've changed, they've become unsafe. And some of the red flag laws that are proposed in other states, they enact a pathway where people, if there's conditions they're felt to be unsafe, they could petition, courts could be petitioned, they could step in, and if there's probable cause, weapons could be taken away before tragedy strikes. if it's a case where there is no cause, the court hearing later has felt the person is once again stable, weapons could be returned. All these things could take place. But if we don't enforce these laws, what's going to happen? If Shawano County is going to be an island and say, we're not enforcing these legislations, and if tragedy does strike, and a law could have potentially prevented those, what kind of liability are we taking on as a county? What kind of liability are you taking on as a board? Are we ready to prepare? Are you prepared for lawsuits that may come and follow? Hopefully it doesn't become an issue, but it very well could. I ask that you really think hard on this, and is this the kind of county we want to be? When I came here as my wife and I came here 20 years ago as physicians and served the community since then. Had this been discussed then, I'm not sure we would have came here at all. I'm not sure now we're going to stay here to finish our careers. I'm not sure if this passes, if I'm going to retire here. I think you really want to think of what we want to make this county. Do we want to make it a place that's welcoming, inclusive, and a safe place for families, or a place where anything goes, where the sheriff could decide maybe a speed limit is not constitutional, maybe, you picked a lot of drug laws, maybe we don't enforce those. Is whatever you feel is right constitutional or not, or is it something we're going to follow the courts, the process set out by our government, where laws are made, and if we don't like them, they can be challenged in court, and the courts decide if it's going to be constitutional or not. But we need to have our sheriff enforce the laws as they're written, not as he believes they should be. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Must have a clock in your head, Joe. You were only off by about 10 seconds. John Culhane.
Thanks for the opportunity to speak. I read this resolution, had some questions. To me, the resolution seemed a little vague and not the best written. For instance, does it pertain to current laws, or are we talking future laws? It really doesn't say in the resolution. The other thing is, who gets to decide if the law is unlawful? Is that the county board? Are you guys deciding what's unlawful? What's an unlawful law? Or is that Sheriff Beaver? Or is it the Supreme Court? Usually it's court. So according to the civics class I went to and the Constitution, a judge decides what's constitutional and what's lawful and what's not. So I think whoever wrote this referendum or proposal left out some important details. It leaves me to try to read between the lines and say, maybe it's saying we don't want any red flag or extreme risk laws that temporarily confiscate weapons from people who are a danger to themselves or others. This would be like domestic violence restraining orders, people mentally unstable, delusional, dementia, suicidal. Are these the unlawful laws that this resolution refers to? I don't know. I mean, it's pretty vague. Does the county board really want the sheriff to take away to not take away someone's weapons if they're suicidal? I mean, it sounds like that's his right. If he doesn't want to, he doesn't have to. Wisconsin already has the domestic violence restriction, so within 48 hours of an injunction or restraining order, the weapons are confiscated. This was signed into law by Scott Walker in 2014. Is this one of the unlawful laws restricting Second Amendment rights? I don't know. We have 850 suicides a year in Wisconsin. Half of those are completed by gun. That's 400 gun deaths from suicide a year. As a parent, what if my kid is suicidal and in some states you can petition the courts to confiscate his weapons for a few weeks so he gets treatment for depression and settles down. But if we had a law like that in Wisconsin, would the sheriff be able to say, well, that's not lawful and I'm not going to confiscate the guns? Is that what the intent of this is? It seems to me that the resolution is couched in a well-meaning general support for the Second Amendment, which we all believe in here and in this part of Wisconsin. But it's really underneath, in between the lines, it's an extreme fringe movement attempt to deny any gun safety laws. This extremism is certainly not the will of the people and not what we need right now in our country. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And the last request we have is Jackie Miller.
I've owned guns all my life. I own a variety of guns. Can you pull the mic down, Jack? Sure. Is that better? Yep. I can do this if you need to. Anyway, I've owned guns all my adult life. I am an avid hunter. My entire family owns guns. I think the board passing this resolution is very ill-advised. We have a sheriff right now who, in my opinion, he runs around like the class clown. Anyone insults him or anyone slights him, he is right on social media, bam. Mr. Culhane, the last meeting that we were at, I believe that he had a post about how to properly wear a mask. And it was directed directly at him to intimidate and to slight him. I was sent this, a Facebook post by our beloved sheriff that mocked the insurrection at the Capitol on January 6th. He did it by putting his own face on the man's body who sat in Nancy Pelosi's office. He thought he was just hilarious, class clown criteria right there. And you are going to vote to allow that same person the ability to judge what laws are constitutional and not constitutional? Heck, he already decided that with the mask mandate. He's like, I'm not doing it, it's unconstitutional. There were other counties that weren't enforcing it either because of the fact that they just didn't have time to run around giving citations to every person who didn't want to wear a mask. We are going to leave the judgment of constitutionality of gun laws in this county to a man like that? He taped the committee meeting last February, and he posted it on Facebook. And as a result, I was threatened because I spoke against it. My name, my address, and my face were all in that video. Now he comes across with wanting to make sure that everyone knows who votes which way. Is that a veiled threat? What's going to happen to you? You going to get threatened? I think it's very dangerous to allow a man who, I'm not so sure he's all there. I think insult him. He'll come after you. Do something he doesn't like. He'll come after you. As Mr. Culhane said, this is something for a court to decide. And if you make Shawano County a sanctuary for people who are interested in violating state and federal law regarding firearms, there's a lot of liability that goes along with that. I want you to consider the personal liability and all of the liability that goes along with you as a governing body. And if you've got a bank account that can withstand that type of financial disparity, go for it.
Okay, 3 minutes is up. Thank you. Now, not to start a precedent, if someone wishes to speak to the board, usually it takes one member. And Kimberly had a request from one of your constituents of an email that they would like read. Would you like me to read that? If you, so I will do it then. Okay. And this is from Laura Robinson, 940 South Evergreen Street, City of Shawano. And she has here, dear members of the Shawano County Board of Supervisors, thank you for giving me an opportunity to voice concerns over the proposed Second Amendment sanctuary resolution before the Shawano County Board. I believe the resolution is vague and misleading, causing widespread confusion that puts public safety at risk and therefore should be rejected. The resolution has led many people to believe that if approved, it will suspend all gun laws in the county, or that the county sheriff will not enforce existing or future laws. The reality is that neither the Shawano County Board nor the sheriff have the authority to deem any law unconstitutional. Our country's founders established the court system for that purpose, as Article 3 of the U.S. Constitution states. If the county board passes this resolution, laws pertaining to gun rights will not change in Shawano County. The sheriff will still be required to enforce all existing gun laws set forth by the federal government and the state of Wisconsin. In fact, Wisconsin state law prohibits any county from passing an ordinance or resolution that regulates firearms. Wisconsin statute section 66.0409 subsection 2. What this resolution will do is sow dangerous seeds of confusion by leading people to believe that gun laws are not being enforced. This resolution would also expose Shawano County to financial liability if gun violence is perpetrated by anyone who comes to our county intending to violate gun laws, because the resolution gives the impression that those laws are not enforced here. Passing the resolution further exposes the county and taxpayers to the expense of defending the resolution in court when challenged. For all these reasons, I ask that you reject this resolution and preserve the system of government created by the Constitution, where the legislature passes the laws, the executive branch, in this case, the sheriff, executes the laws, and the courts interpret the laws and their constitutionality. Thank you. Okay. That will end the public comment on that. And Bob Kraus had called and asked me if he could speak. And I was going to wait until we get to the resolution and let Bob speak then, because he was a county board member and was on the committee that forwarded it to the county board. And I was also going to mention that if you look on there, I'm the sole sponsor of the resolution, and the only reason I'm the sole sponsor of the resolution is due to the delay. And the one that was passed by the Public Safety Committee, everything is identically the same as what they passed. It just has my name on the back because one individual can bring it before the board, and the numbering for Pam's system was all numbering from last year. And it has to be renumbered to be done this year. So I thought that was the quickest way to correct that. And it still follows then all the county board rules and everything in its entirety. So with that, we will move on then to item number 5, motion to deviate from the agenda. Motion by Milt Marquardt, seconded by Gene Hoppy. Is there any questions? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Chairman's report. This is not going to take long, not like last month. Although there was some progress, I believe, made in the meantime on the drug court issue. And we will continue to work on it between the various departments involved and see if we can come to a good solution for everybody. As far as, I believe last month, I had said that Tony had asked for extended time off. Well, since then, Tony has turned that into a formal resignation. He has personal reasons that he would like to do it, and he was always one that tends to keep his family and things separated from his job with the county as the county's attorney. And I'll fully respect that because we're here, our whole family isn't here, just we are here. And that should be given the same to Tony. We did post it. I believe we have, the last I know, we had 3, Jimmy, correct? You don't know of any more?
There's 4.
We're up to 4 now? Okay. And I didn't review anything yet, and neither did anybody else in the executive committee. But Rachel thought they are all 4 well-qualified candidates for the position. And as soon as it closes, then we'll schedule a meeting of the executive committee and hold interviews and see what we have for potential replacements. In the meantime, thankfully, Tom agrees to keep helping us out with some smaller items, mainly the child support and other things. And there were a couple of more substantial issues that came along than just the routine mundane things. And we priced, Jimmy and Rachel checked with some of the pricing in the area of what local attorneys would charge us. And Von Briesen is, as you all know, the main one for the Counties Association, and they're very, very well-versed in everything county. So I told them for the couple other issues that we had in the meantime, I think it was $5 an hour difference, more to go to Von Briesen, so I thought that would be the most beneficial to the county for that small of a dollar change. But it was only, like I say, a few should be relatively easy items for them. We also have, if you hear anything about it, I can't remember if I sent this to everybody or not, but Tony did send out his request for information or an informal opinion of the Attorney General. And the information that we got back that came to Tom was basically any Class 1 or Class 2 notices we no longer have to publish in the paper. And since then, the, I don't know what they call themselves, the Newspaper Association. Okay, that's what I was going to guess as. The Newspaper Association is getting a little upset with us. They think that that's all being misinterpreted. So I am going to approach Wisconsin Counties Association because I don't really want to be the first one to stick our necks out. And I was going to see if they would request, because it would affect all the counties in the state, a formal opinion from the Attorney General's office. And we'll go from there then a little more and see what we got. We were going to put together, and I told Jimmy to keep doing that to see how we would work it within the different departments. So the notices, so there's a process laid out of who calls who, you know, who handles what. In the case we go to that method, but I don't know if we should really be the first in the state to do it without a little more backing than what we have so far. So, okay, then we will move on. We have Dale with the fair report. A little later than normal, but maybe things will get straightened out now and everybody can get back to their business as usual.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, the board, chairman.
Well, yeah, give it, I'll lose that. Give it to Pam. You're
Give
right.
you a financial report from last year's fairground activities. Obviously, we normally did this in December, but it was a little later this year. However, I can only say that last year was one that I believe everybody will like to forget, but it did challenge everyone. Layoffs were not uncommon, obviously, we know that. Family and friends did a lot of helping each other. Churches were challenged with services, schools, everybody was affected. But we went ahead and put a plan together to get the Speedway going in mid-June. We coordinated it with the other racetracks in the area so that they all started at the same time so that we didn't overflow each venue. We changed the way we handled food and how it was served. We had hand sanitation stations all over the place. We encourage people to spread out throughout the grandstand and respect the people around you. We had personnel traveling to every restroom on every hour, and people adjusted, and we were very thankful that they had a place to go and enjoy themselves. The same thing was with the fair. Lots of hand sanitation stations, hand washing stations spread around the grounds. The carnival also had stations by each ride, and they would stop several times during the program and sanitize the rides. We again had personnel traveling to all the restrooms every hour. We made other changes like no bingo because of the closer people being together, so we dropped that. We canceled our big bands got smaller venue bands to kind of keep the crowds down. We held a livestock auction at the Crawford Center this year, which gave people more room to spread out. People got together, but didn't crowd as much as normal. Attendance was down about 25%, and that's about what we expected. We respect the decisions that people made, whether they came or didn't come. Those that came had a great time, and as I walked the grounds, I had multiple people come forward and say, thank the board for allowing us to have a fair. However, I want you to know that was a very difficult decision to make, and a lot of lost hours of sleep as to whether we go forward. We looked at the other options that were being tried in other counties, but in the end, we decided in the best interest of Shawano County to move ahead with the modifications the best we could. We are pleased with the results and hope we don't have to deal with that again. Biggest improvements on the ground this year was the replacement of our storm drains under the main driveway and re-blacktopping that area. We also blacktopped a few other areas at the same time while we had the equipment there. We installed an exhaust fan in the 4-H building, and we have other areas that needed to be addressed, but we put them on hold last year, not knowing what kind of revenue to expect. I can tell you that it wasn't a banner year, but we stayed in the black. And we are satisfied with the decisions we made and look forward to going ahead the next year. I'd like to thank Marvin, the Ag and Extension Committee, and the County Board for your support. I'd also like to thank Terry Brenner, who couldn't attend the fair because of restrictions by the county, but she did a lot of extra work in the background for us to help us succeed. We also had a lot of volunteers this year that helped step up and during the fair and before the fair. So we are pleased and look forward to putting on a whole new show again this year. Any questions?
None?
Not? Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much, Dale. And we have one other. Bob would like to speak for a few minutes. I believe representing the Farm Bureau, Bob?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Good afternoon. Most of you know me. There's some new faces in the county board, and first of all, I'd like to thank Chairman Kautza and all of you for allowing Farm Bureau to come today and talk to you about agriculture in Shawano County. I put on your tables before the meeting a little flyer. It's a front and back. This is what I consider the front. Sorry, I didn't get one over to that table. I have more at my desk, if anybody needs some extra copies. It just gives you a picture of what Shawano County looks like and what it contributes to the economic effect and other information that you can glean from this. So I ask you to look at that and make note. I mean, I know a lot of time when I was on this county board, there was always conversation about these farms are getting bigger or all we have is corporate farms. But as you see down in the left-hand corner, only 96% of the town farmers in Shawano County are actually farmers that come from, that actually run a corporation. And even a lot of those are family farms that have outside investors. So, and yes, the family farm has changed drastically since that Saturday evening post picture of Ma and her kerchief and Pa holding the pitchfork, and you know that's completely changed now, and I think all of you understand that. And you know, now it's Ma with the cell phone trying to get a signal, and I could give you another whole story on broadband in Shawano County, but it's gotten a lot better thanks to you guys, and we thank you for that. And Dad's out there trying to get a GPS signal so he can download his records on the cloud. So it's an interesting world we're living in farming in Shawano County. And these numbers are actually a couple of years old. It takes a while to put those statistics together. If you look on the back side of the page, on the bottom of the page, you'll see this was sponsored by the Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin, the Coarse Farm Bureau, but also the University Statistical Service. They're the ones who put this information together. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank people like your extension office, not only Terry Brunner, but your ag agent, Kimberly Schmidt, that got me this information, sent an email to me, I printed it off and made it available to you. And people like Scott Frank that works through the Land Conservation Office, that works with Farm Bureau, even attends our meetings virtually and keeps us informed what's going on at the county as far as, and throughout the county as far as conservation goes. So your Shawano County Farm Bureau works very hard to provide information and advocate for Shawano County and our farmers. So anytime you need some information, you'd like to look at this, on the back you'll see a connection to your extension office here in Shawano. And I know a lot of you, since COVID, you know, the office has been restricted by the state. But they are working behind the scenes. Feel free to give them a call and they'll connect you to the right people. And if you'd like to get a hold of somebody from Shawano County Farm Bureau, we do have a website you can go on to and find the telephone numbers and emails of the directors in the county, including myself. So we look forward to any conversation you'd like to have with us. And also as far as county board members, if you have an issue that's coming up that has something to do with farming or agriculture in Shawano County and you'd like some direction or some information or someone to sit on a committee and try to put together a proposal, we're more than happy to put somebody out there for you or get some state specialists from the state, Wisconsin Farm Bureau, and of course we have a national organization, the National Farm Bureau. So more than happy to help out in any way we can. I'm just, oh, by the way, yesterday was National Ag Day, and thank you to the Fair Board, the Ag Society that put a little banner out there on the sign on East Green Bay Street. So just thought this was a good opportunity to talk to you about it. So like I said, I know you guys got a busy agenda. If you have a quick question, I'd be happy to take it. Otherwise, just feel free to contact me at some other time. Thank you.
Okay. You might as well not run too far, Bob. One quick formality and you can.
I have to grab my phone.
Okay. All right. With that, then we will move on to item number 7, reading of petitions, memorials, communications, and claims against the board. Pam?
None.
We have none. Okay. Then we are up to item number 8, resolution number 13-21. Pam?
To declare Shawano County's vigorous support of the people's Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 24th day of March, 2021, that it hereby opposes the enactment of any legislation unlawfully infringing on our rights under the Second Amendment, and further makes clear that all lawmakers are hereby urged to honor the Second Amendment, as well as Article 1, Section 25 of the Wisconsin Constitution, and to be vigilant in their duty to avoid improperly or unconstitutionally abridging a citizen's right thereunder to keep and bear arms. Be it further resolved that the Shawano County shall not appropriate any funds for any enforcement of unconstitutional laws against the people of Shawano County, and requests the sheriff to utilize his discretion to avoid the unlawful enforcement of any law which unconstitutionally impedes our fundamental Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. Be it further resolved that the Shawano County Board, hearing the will of the constituents, hereby declares Shawano County to be a Second Amendment sanctuary county. Submitted by Thomas Kautza, Shawano County Board Chair.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Mark Boland, seconded by Kevin Conrad. Bob, you want to put your 2 cents in first, and then I'll open it up to the board.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For those new on the board, last term I served on the Public Safety Committee, and the Public Safety Committee asked me, the sheriff, and a couple of individuals in the county to sit down and write this resolution. This actually started way back in 2018. Florence County was the first county in the state that stepped forward and said, we're going to create a sanctuary city. I was fortunate enough to actually have some acquaintances on the county boards up there that I worked with extension through. And so I got a firsthand knowledge from them. So we brought that back to our Public Safety Committee, and in 2019 started working on what works for Shawano. You know, we're not going to copy something from somewhere else. Let's do what people of Shawano County want. So we sat down in 2019 and put together this resolution that's before you. Now, we didn't do it very lightheartedly. We went through it and we modified it and had several meetings. Matter of fact, we had a meeting downstairs in January of 2020 that I heard a lot of comment from the audience before about some things that they thought was in the resolution, et cetera, et cetera. And yes, that resolution changed over the course of 2019 and 2020 as we heard from the people what they were concerned about, and their concerns we thought were met. Brought the resolution forward in February, and then COVID hit. So it wasn't done. We spent a lot of time on it. There was a lot of conversation. There was a lot of input from people in the community on both sides. I did dig through some of my stuff. I was actually quite surprised I still had it since I'm no longer a member of the board. But it was like 50-50. I mean, we had half the people that were concerned about some of the things that were in the resolution, and then half the people that wanted more things put into the resolution. So we thought this was a happy medium. And the board members who were here in 2020 that are sitting here to now probably got a lot of it then. So that's the history. That's how we ended up here today. My feedback to this, and I hope it's okay if I share my personal opinion.
Sure, go ahead, Bob.
My personal opinion is this is a lot like a lot of resolutions over the last 14 years when I was on this board. We sent resolutions to the legislators at least once a year. The latest one I remember was the black store thing or dark store thing where we had to pay back the property taxes that they had to pay once their store was no longer open and it didn't qualify, et cetera, and it really hurts. You know, so we sent a resolution that stated to the legislators, we don't want this. We want, you know, to find a happy medium. I mean, we can't afford to have little towns that their company closed and then now they have to pay back all this back property taxes. So we sent that forward, and I don't know that anything ever really came of that. I don't think they changed the law. And then the other one I famously remember too is when we had our own county library being charged by neighboring libraries for using the library. And it, you know, it was 6-figure numbers that your county was paying to other libraries. We went to the legislature and said, we need to fix this. This doesn't work. You're costing our taxpayers a lot of money, and some counties are really benefiting by this. So we sent a resolution. We asked them, is there a way we can fix this? I don't think we got any fix from the legislators. We took it upon ourselves and worked the system so that we could quit paying those numbers. So at the end of the day, this resolution is really no different than any of those resolutions. The sheriff's an elected official. He's going to make his decision based on what he feels his constituents are doing. This resolution requests that he doesn't enforce any unconstitutional laws. Pretty simple, right? We don't have any unconstitutional laws. The same thing here. And I'll be honest with you, when I sat down and got done with this, I thought, well, this is a feel-good thing that really doesn't mean any more than the other resolutions that we sent forward. Till COVID hit, and all of a sudden the state statute closed down everything we had. And I said to myself, how safe are we? And I'll be honest with you, I thought about bringing my copy of the Constitution, which I think every board member should have because we've all taken that same oath to uphold that Constitution. And now, all of a sudden, we got executive orders, we've got emergency situations, and then they find out later that, oh, I guess that is unconstitutional. Well, folks, this does not make us any different than anybody else. We're not going to be sued because we wrote a resolution recommending to our state representatives that we don't want you to make an unconstitutional law. This doesn't open you up to liability. What this does is make a statement to your legislators that, yes, we will uphold the oath of office that we took to uphold the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin and the United States of America. That's my soapbox. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bob. I want to make a few comments on it, and then we'll start through with the board. When I took over as the chairman, I said that I would forward any of the resolutions that I get to the appropriate committee and let them decide if they would forward it along to the board and what they thought the board should do with it. And I've backed off a little bit from that because you'd be surprised the number of resolutions that get sent to us from other counties, and they're, I don't know how to say it, they're strictly advisory, and I've never heard of us getting a response back from anybody in Madison on any of the ones we sent in the past. I'm quite sure they all hit the circular file as soon as they get down there, because quite frankly, a good share of them down there could care less what we think up here in one small county with a small population. And a lot of them I've just been bypassing along the way, but since this went to a committee and it's here before us, the only thing I'm going to say is the portion that is in there to where it says the part about the sheriff utilizing his discretion, I don't believe that should be in there. And I will vote no strictly on that basis, to where we should not in any way say that he has the right, but he does, to emphasize, to enforce one thing more than the other. But I don't think it should be on a public record that the board took action in that way. And I'll leave it up to the rest of you to make any suggestions, because I'm quite sure there will be some amendments made to this before a final vote is taken. So are there any questions or comments on it? Okay, Kathy Lubke.
All right, I'm going to start it out. I want it on record real loud and clear that I am for the Second Amendment. When I read the first whereases, that's what we all swear to when we took this office. When I got to the second, be it further resolved, that's when my opinion and what I've heard from outside of my constituents. Why are we allowing one person the authority to utilize his discretion? You have to remember all these positions that we are in and the sheriff are an elected position. His case was that every 4 years we can have somebody else, or is it 6 years? I don't remember sheriff anymore. We could have anybody up there. It's not the county board nor the sheriff's position to enforce this. So with that, I'm going to make the amendment that we delete the second and third be it further resolved.
Is there a second to that? Seconded by Gene Hoppy. Okay. Now, any questions, or I'm gonna erase everybody here, I'll have to. Now, are there any questions or comments strictly on the amendment to it? Teresa Serrano.
Yes, she referenced, Kathy referenced the second and third, be it further resolved, there's only two.
There you have first one, Tess, of now therefore be it resolved. Yep, okay. Is there any other questions or comments on the amendment? Deb?
So Kathy, you want to take out the be it further resolved also? That we become a sanctuary county? Why? I mean, I can see it if you want to take out the middle one there, but it doesn't make any difference. The sheriff has that right either way, this sheriff or any other sheriff. But if that seems to be what everyone's complaining about, but I don't know why you would take away the final be it further resolved.
Okay, go ahead, Kathy.
We all took the oath to honor the Second Amendment, so to me, personally, I don't even know why we're even acting on this, but no, I'm gonna stand by my ground, just take the last two out.
Okay, is that it, Deb?
Yes, I'd really rather have the final be it further resolved stay in there. I mean, that's what this is. This is like married people renewing their vows. I mean, all we're doing is supporting the Constitution. And so the final be it further resolved really does belong there.
Okay. I would like to make this is maybe a little bit out of order, but since I get to set up here, thanks to all of you people, I got a little more of a bit of an authority to butt in when I want. I was going to suggest an amendment, Kathy, which I would be happy to vote for this resolution. If you would be interested in changing the amendment to leave the second, be it further resolved that Shawano County shall not appropriate any funds for any enforcement of unconstitutional laws against the people of Shawano County, period. Go ahead.
Well, I don't think we should be spending money on something that's unconstitutional anyway. Yes.
Okay, fine, that's just what I looked and thought for, was my opinion, my 2 cents. Aaron Damrell.
I will also start out saying that I support the Second Amendment to have guns, but I do have concerns with the second and third, be it resolved. The whole premise of this resolution is that the sheriff gets to determine, I mean, there's really two parts to it. One is the advisory opinion, but the second is encouraging the sheriff to determine what is and what is not constitutional, and I mean, he can enforce whatever he wants. We do have restrictions on the Second Amendment. You cannot own a firearm if you are a felon. You cannot,
You gotta stay right to the amendment.
To the amendment, okay.
Yep, whether if you think it should be
Well, I believe that
altered or.
the whole sanctuary county, they go hand in hand with each other, and it means that we are not, a sanctuary county means that we are not going to enforce the law. We are a sanctuary for all, I mean, whatever goes. We don't know. We don't know what we are a sanctuary for, I guess. I don't know what we are Second Amendment sanctuary means if we take out the first, be it further resolved. So I would be in favor of the amendments.
Okay. Kevin Conrad.
I guess I wouldn't be in favor of the amendment because of the third be it further resolved being taken out. I could favor it if just the second one was out.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, just, I don't want to go down the Robert's Rule rabbit hole here, but what could be done is there could be a division of the question and voted on separately, which would be permitted by Robert's Rule, but someone would have to make a motion to divide the question that Supervisor Lipke has proposed into two separate questions, and then it could be voted on separately if that was desired by the supervisor.
okay. If somebody would request that, then what Tom summed up is we can split Kathy's motion, I guess. And we can decide if the resolution is going to be amended by vote to include, to remove both the second and the third, be it therefore resolved, or just remove the second, be it therefore resolved, correct?
I think the motion would be to divide the question into two separate votes.
Right, to make a motion, and then we would have two separate votes on the second and the third be therefore resolved.
Right, exactly.
Okay, thank you. Jerry Erdman,
I would make that motion or to divide because, quite honestly, that second further be it further resolved, whatever. The sheriff has his constitutional duties he has to do anyway under the law. But I have said from day one, when this first came about, that I said, this is about the Constitution of the United States. This is about the Constitution that we fought for, our forefathers fought for. We need to leave it as a Second Amendment sanctuary county because it's Second Amendment. Everybody's rights that was given us under the Second Amendment. Let's not take that or try and delete it from what it is. So I would make that division, motion to divide.
okay. Since we're up to another motion, I'll clear everybody out again now. Is there a second? Deb? Second by Deb?
Yes, can we divide it into three?
Let's stay with two.
Your version, the middle paragraph, and the one Cubby wants.
Let's stay with two. I'm very happy with either way. I just don't believe that the county should go forward and pass any type of resolution where you're giving someone permission, basically like to break a law.
Yes, but I like the part that says we won't appropriate any funds.
Okay,
If we
Well-
divided it in three, Jerry,
Okay.
friendly amendment, I'm your second. Can we divide the question in three? Vote on all three sections of it, because everyone seems to have some mixes here between which particular sentence they have an issue with.
okay. Yep, you can amend the amendment later. We'll
Yeah, but
split it,
it's
let's
gonna
split
take
it.
longer to add it back in.
Let's just split it up because we're only going with two and was Jerry's motion. We'll stick with that.
Okay, I'm still
Okay.
Jerry's second.
All right. Any questions or comments? Ken?
I just, maybe for Tom, or I question the fact that we do have a motion and a second on the floor right now. Now you got two.
Yep. And Tom is saying that by rule of the second one, we can take the first one and we can split it into two different votes. Is really what he's telling us, correct, Tom?
That is correct, and I guess for citation, and I would just read, if a pending motion contains two or more parties capable of
Okay.
If a pending motion or amendment to it contains two or more parts capable of standing as separate questions, the assembly can vote to treat such part individually in succession. Such a course is proposed by the motion for division of a question, and then it cites Robert's Rules of Order at pages 261, 266.
Okay.
And And I
Okay.
think in terms of procedural, where we're at here is that the motion needs to be considered as a division into the two questions before you can get into another motion, that there's been a motion and a second, so I think that has to be considered at this point, rather than further splitting it into three questions.
Well, now we got a motion and a motion, so we're. Bill?
We have to act on them all.
Yeah, okay. Arlen, you're lit up, but the only thing you can comment on now, Arlen, is if we're gonna do it in one motion, or in two parts, or one.
Okay. Then I should maybe leave my talk
Comment?
until.
Okay. Gene? Microphone, Gene?
Sorry. I was wondering if we have to either pass or defeat the first motion before we can go on.
Tom already explained that we are, by Jerry's motion and Deb's second, we are splitting it into two
So
two
that
votes.
The first motion, the first was Kathy made, is out. And when it's divided
No,
into
no, it's
two
not, yeah,
portions.
it's divided into two parts.
Yes.
Correct. So we're gonna be taking two votes to end up what it determines in the end. Dennis?
So it isn't a no to Kathy's amendment
It's not a no.
to.
It's basically
the second.
splitting it up, Dennis, to where we're gonna take one vote that, yes or no, do we eliminate only the third? Now therefore it be resolved? And then another one, do we eliminate both the second and the third? Now therefore be it resolved.
This one would be to eliminate both of them, right? Because that was her first motion.
No, we're splitting it into two. Randy?
If we vote on Jerry and Deb's motion, aren't we actually voting first as to whether or not we want to split it in two?
Yes.
So we're not automatically splitting it in two and voting
No.
on each, we're deciding whether or not we want to
First, this is
split
gonna
it.
decide if we want to split it into two pieces.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, any other questions or comments? Okay. We have a motion and a second to split Kathy's motion into two parts and vote twice on it. One would be to take out the second and the third, now therefore it be resolved. And the other one would be to only take out the second, now therefore be it resolved. No, wait, there's three, not to take three out, we're only dealing with two. So we're gonna decide first if we're gonna take out the second one, and then we will vote the second time if we're gonna also take out the third one. Has everybody got that? Okay. You got that, Pam? Okay.
We're dividing it, we're voting to divide it.
We will vote the first time to determine if we take out the second. Is to split the vote. Yep, okay. All right. We have a motion and a second to split the vote. Well, we got to vote for that, we better.
And it was Jerry and Deb.
Jerry and Deb. Jerry's motion, seconded by Deb. If you are in favor of splitting it up into the two pieces, you would vote yes. If you are not in favor of splitting it up and voting strictly on Kathy's motion, you would vote no. Whenever you're ready, Pam. Yours didn't take, Arlen. And Jean. Jean? Okay, passed by a majority vote of yes to split it into two. Now, with that in mind, we're back to splitting Kathy's amendment. So we will vote first on eliminating the second, be it further resolved. Okay, if you are in favor,
This, and this is going back to when Kathy made the motion,
yes. Now it's going to be split, it's split into two, Pam.
and now it's Kathy and Hubby.
Yep. And the first vote that we will take now will be to either eliminate. If you want to eliminate it, you would vote yes. If you do not want to eliminate the second, be it further resolved, you would vote no. Okay, if you were voting right now, if you want to have the original resolution amended to remove the second, be it further resolved section, you would vote yes. If you want to leave the second section in there, you would vote no. Okay? And then we'll vote again on the third one. Okay, so if you are ready and you want to remove it, vote yes. If you want to leave it, vote no. Okay, we have 18 yes, 9 no. So the second section is history. Now we will vote whenever Pam's ready.
Voting on it as amended.
No, now we got to vote the second part of the split, Pam, for removing the third, be it further resolved, in the original resolution.
Okay, so I'm going to need a motion and a second for that.
We have that already. We have that split.
Deb and Jerry?
Yep, that's Deb and Jerry's, Deb and Jerry. That's their split of Kathy's motion to vote it on in two pieces. So when Pam is ready, now if you are in favor of eliminating the third, be it further resolved, in the original resolution, you would vote yes.
Just 1 second.
Motion by Jerry, second by Deb. Okay. Yep, deleting the third, be it further resolved in the original resolution. And if you're in favor of eliminating it, you would vote yes. If you want it to stay, you would vote no. Tess? Okay, 12 yes, 15 no. So it has failed on majority vote. So now we are down to resolution number 13-21 as amended without the second, be it therefore resolved, and the third one in the original resolution is included. Now, are there any more questions or comments on it in that form? Deb?
Yes, I'd like to offer an amendment. I would like to offer that we reinsert, be it further resolved that Shawano County shall not appropriate any funds for any enforcement of unconstitutional laws against the people of Shawano County, period. Because, Tom, I think that was really a good idea. I mean, that's a no-brainer.
Okay, do we have a second? Seconded by Mark? Okay. We have a motion and a second to replace a small portion of the second, be it further resolved, to read, be it further resolved that Shawano County shall not appropriate any funds for any enforcement of unconstitutional laws against the people of Shawano County. Is there any questions or comments on that? Okay, everybody's clear on it then, where we're gonna vote? Okay, everybody get ready to ring in again, because Kevin, you were not on a complete thing. Kathy? On this amendment, okay.
Am I on?
Yeah,
Okay, then I think we need to insert that language in every resolution we have going forward. Because if Shawano County's spending money I'm trying to find the language again, unconstitutional laws, we have a problem. So either we insert it on every resolution going forward, or, it just doesn't make sense.
okay. Marvin, same thing? Yep, you're up, Marvin.
Yes, that was my question too. I don't know how you can enforce an unconstitutional law.
Okay, so you're saying to leave it out? Okay. Jerry?
Yeah, I would actually say, given the strength of our legislators in Madison and their ability or inability to do what really is quite common sense sometimes, I would leave that in there.
Okay. Dennis Knapp?
I just was wondering, so the common people, or the people we represent, are supposed to come forward if they think they're being unconstitutionally a law enforced against them. I don't, who's gonna, are we as a county board gonna say that was unconstitutional, what you passed?
Okay. All right. Deb again?
With all due respect, we could get another one of these mandates that somebody dreams up in the bathroom overnight. And the problem is enforcement then falls on the county. Why should we pay for enforcement of things that months through the court system can be deemed unconstitutional anyway? I don't think we should spend money. And it is possible that we get an unfunded mandate. And I think we should say no.
You think we might get another one sometime?
I think we could.
Sure?
Yes.
Okay. Aaron Damrell?
I think that by leaving that language in there, you are still leaving to question constitutionality of a law. And who's determining the constitutionality is left to question in this amendment. And the way that the whole thing originally was, I mean, it kind of a wink and a nod to the sheriff, again, for him to determine what's an unconstitutional law, and it's condoning a decision to not enforce a law that whoever the sheriff is, to not enforce it because they believe it's unconstitutional. I think that if you want to include this in there, that we don't enforce unconstitutional laws, I think that we need to make it clear that it's not to appropriate funds for enforcement of laws found unconstitutional by a court of law, because that is how. Thank you, Mart.
Okay,
I think that it's up to the courts, it is up to the courts to decide constitutionality of a law. It is not up for individuals.
that's right.
I've represented clients who have had their rights violated, and I've had clients where I believe their rights were violated and had very good arguments that their rights were violated, but a judge didn't agree with me. So their rights were not violated because the court did not agree that their rights are violated. Until a court decides, the law is constitutional. So I think that it needs to be clear that we will not enforce laws that are found unconstitutional by a court of law. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay, and that's why when I get these emails with the junk resolutions, that has absolutely nothing to do with the county's authority or ability to enforce or anything, I ditch them. And you can throw me out the next time around if you want, or we can keep doing this for every meeting. Arlen?
Yes, I was just wondering, this is only going as an advisory to the legislature and to our senators and that. But I'm just wondering, who is the one that says if the law is constitutional or not? Is just to our corp council, or is that going to have to go higher up? Every time the law, we got to figure out, is that constitutional? Do we have to go to work and find out first of all if it's constitutional?
Yep. I think it's getting time to vote, folks. We kind of beat that to death already now.
Yeah.
So we have a motion and a second to replace, be it further resolved that Shawano County shall not appropriate any funds for any enforcement of unconstitutional laws against the people of Shawano County. If you are in favor of adding that back in, you vote yes. If you are not in favor of adding it back in, you would vote no. Okay, 11 yes, 16 no, so that is not added back in. Now, we are back to resolution number 13-21 as amended with both the second and the third, be it further resolved, removed. Excuse me. You guys are making so many motions, I'm running out of spots to write up here. Okay. I'll correct that, yep. With only the second one being completely removed. Now, is there any more questions or comments? Kevin?
I'll just make one quick comment. I had 10 people contact me. 8 were in support of this resolution, and 2 are against, so I will be supporting it.
Okay. Joe Miller?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, fellow county board members. Half of my comments were dissolved with the removal of specific relationship towards the sheriff, but, however, okay, I'm going to preface what I'm about to say here. I'm a lifelong resident of Shawano County. I've lived in the same house for the last 61 years. And as my wife so eloquently stated, yes, we are avid gun owners. God bless her heart. I purchased an AR-15 some years ago. I give it to my son, a Marine combat veteran, upon his return home. So it's just a preface. I was a hunter safety instructor for 20 plus years and state certified hunter safety instructor. And I carried a gun and a badge on the Stockbridge Muncie Indian Reservation for almost 30 years. A couple years back, when these words were first uttered at this floor where I was sitting on the other side, my first term in office here, a couple years back I seem to remember these words coming forward by a previous county board supervisor. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Currently, that county board supervisor who first brought this thing forward is currently under indictment. And the question is, if he's convicted, will he lose his rights to bear firearms or not? I had asked the DA I sent an email to the DA and I copied Jerry when Jerry was chair to come in to the county board here and give us a legal perspective, interpretation as to what exactly we were talking about. I don't see him here. I called Tom and seen if he was going to come. I don't see him here, so I can take that answer loud and clear.
Well, the answer I received, I had stated earlier, Joe, was that he has no choice of enforcing this, not enforcing it, and it's only a resolution. He cannot enforce resolutions. Resolution basically states that this is the way we're going to kind of do things. An ordinance has to be something that's a law that can either be enforced or not enforced.
Understood. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I appreciate that. So I have to talk about the credibility. There's some credibility issues here. Let's talk about the Constitution. And I'm glad to see that regarding the sheriff, because there's been a lot to do over the last couple of years. Every time this thing is mentioned in whatever form, his name seems to be accompanied. So I am very glad that we can say that, no, he doesn't have that discretionary authority, because I was going to ask the question under Constitution, what gives any one individual, a sworn law enforcement officer of the state of Wisconsin and Shawano County, the right to pick and choose what they will enforce and what they won't? There was a credibility issue there. Another question, what does the County Health and Human Services Department think about this resolution? I imagine victims of domestic violences would probably disagree. I think what this does is sends a message that individuals' rights, be them defendants or not, way more heavier than victims' rights. So I got an issue with that. I believe victims' rights always outweigh. And then I'll omit this last one because it's already been adjusted, but I won't omit the Facebook and the rantings and the ravings, the Facebook warriors, as I call them, that are too cowardly to say anything face to face. What I say, I will either say face to face or here in this format on public record. I don't prescribe to that social media. I'm old school. I exercise my First Amendment right. And the authority as a county board member to speak my mind. And I do respect others' right to disagree with me. That's their right. But it begs the question. In the reading in the first whereas, or therefore it be resolved, it seems to beg the question, if any one of us vote no on this, that all of a sudden that we are interpreted as not abiding by the Constitution, which we all stood up and swore an oath to defend. I disagree with that. Because in a democracy, we have the right to disagree. So, previous county board supervisor said this is a no-brainer. You vote yes for it because you're supporting your Constitution. Well, it ain't that simple. No, it isn't. And even by the wording in there, the intimidation that has gone on, as was stated, veiled threats, but I think it's a little bit more than that. It's important not only, here's an excerpt from, I believe this was Shawano Leader, I don't know, it was a newspaper excerpt. It's important not only that it passes, but who votes yes. There's a quote from the sheriff. And then it also says it doesn't stop here. Second Amendment, well, what's next? Well, that sentence there, but who votes yes? That could be very easily interpreted as not only a veiled threat, but the potential for retaliation, because based on something that we say or we do or we vote on.
You know what I think about that?
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
Excuse me, I'm almost done. as an elected official, we're nonpartisan in this office. We don't have to declare partisan affiliation. The sheriff does. And that's the only difference between us, but he is an elected official. And I'll stand up for my fellow board members and their right to vote their mind in their way. But if any retaliation or intimidation befalls on them, that's something I won't tolerate. And anybody that does that, including the sheriff or anybody else, they'll be called out right here in this forum. So it's important that everybody understands. I can be your best cheerleader, but I can be your biggest and your best advocate, but I can be your staunch enemy as well. So that's our right. And I speak my mind, and I hope and I respect everybody else's opinion as well. So with that in mind, Mr. Chairman, thank you, and thank you, my fellow board members and audience, for listening. I appreciate it, and I respect everybody's opinion. Thank you.
Okay. The only comment I'll make back to that, Joe, is I think you're worrying too much about what's on Facebook. I've never signed up, never read anything on it, and I don't think I ever will either, because I got much better things to do.
Understood, but when threats are veiled and levied,
Yep.
they have to be addressed.
If it's a threat to sheriff, I'm going to vote yes for this. If it's a threat to sheriff knows right where I live. Steve?
Yes, I just want to affirm that I'm supporting this resolution. I represent a district that has been about a 95% in support of it. I also support the Red River Sportsman's Club, who had a meeting a year ago, voted unanimously to support this. And I just want to remind everybody, the Red River Sportsman's Club are not a bunch of gun-toting vigilantes. They are people that are interested in promoting wildlife and recreational hunting and fishing. And so I have no other choice but to support them and the majority of my constituents in the town of Richmond. So I'm going to vote in favor of the resolution.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Jerry?
Yes, as I said from day one when this first came about, that this is about the Constitution of the United States, pure and simple. The sheriff has a job to do. He's going to do what's required under law by him. But the strength of our Constitution lies entirely with the citizens and their determination to defend and uphold it. Now, we've got sportsmen's clubs all throughout the county. We've got landowners that have bought purchased land in the county just for recreation and for hunting and whatever. We teach our kids 4-H shooting sports at the age of 10, just to be familiar, operate weapons safely. A weapon isn't a weapon until it's in somebody's hands. A weapon doesn't kill, people kill. Now, I've taken this kind of personal, and I have a damn good reason to, because not only did I swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States, but at one time I took an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States, which I damn well did. And there's a heck of a lot of individuals that took that same oath that did not come back from a war. Now, are we going to slap their memory by objecting to something that all we're saying is leave the Constitution as it is? That's all we're saying. The laws are meant to be upheld and will be upheld. There's not going to be a law that is not upheld if it's on the books. This resolution does nothing more than say, okay, leave us alone. Let the Second Amendment lie. The Second Amendment is the Second Amendment. It is not the 10th Amendment. It is not the 27th Amendment. It is only followed by the First Amendment, which is freedom of speech, which everybody gets to do and should have that right. But the Second Amendment we should have the right to enjoy recreation, if it's a sport, if it's hunting, whatever. But I darn well am going to support this amendment simply on the fact that I had guys next to me that didn't make it back. They took an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States, defend the Constitution of the United States, and I'm darn well going to make sure that their memory of defending it is heard and will not die. That's all I got to say. And I could say a lot more if I wanted to.
All right. Gene, you'd like to make a comment yet?
Yes, after watching us.
A little closer, Gene, to the mic, please.
After watching us try to cut up this resolution, and the number of people which I made a special effort to go out and find out how they felt, it was 31 people I contacted. I support this resolution, and I'm gonna support it. You know, when you look at the cemetery, the military cemetery, and you see all the boys, the white crosses of the boys that gave their life up for this. Why destroy it? They paid the price, and damn it, I'm going to back them up 100% because they died for me and my family, and I appreciate that. And I will vote yes.
Is that it, Gene? Yes. Okay. And the only thing I'm gonna say in the end, well, all right, Deb, last one.
This is about the Constitution, which is supposed to protect not just me, but you too, everybody. I don't hunt because there's no way I can look into a little pretty animal's eyes and do that. But I do own a gun. I've been pretty mad at certain times in my life, but it has never occurred to me to go use that gun against anyone. But when you listen to some of the comments here, it's like anyone that's going to support the Constitution and the right to keep and bear arms is a bunch of people that just got to shoot up the town. If that was the case, we'd have done it already. I'm going to support this because nobody should tinker with the Constitution. And I think that's what the fear is here, is that you get somebody that thinks they know better than everybody starting to tinker with rights that they have no right to tinker with. And I think it's our job to stand up and say, no, leave it alone, protect it. And Joe, I like you, I do. But we have differing opinions. And I know you don't like the sheriff for whatever reason, but he already has the rights that you want to take out of there. I know better than anybody in this room what it's like to be on the receiving end of a vindictive nutcase of a sheriff, and it's not our current one.
Okay, can we move on?
No, we were called high-value targets.
Well, whatever.
That's what we were called.
This isn't, this in my opinion was not about the
This has
sheriff.
nothing to do with the
One way or
sheriff.
the
I don't know
other.
why it got that direction. It's
And-
about our rights to do what the Constitution says we should be able to do. Want me to? Yeah,
Okay.
can I call the question?
Yes, you can,
Okay, I'll do so.
and that's fine with me. If you are in favor, for those of you in the back that doesn't know what that means, when one supervisor calls the question, that means we're done talking. We finally got to shut up and vote. Okay, whenever you're ready, Pam. Resolution number 13-21 as amended. If you are in favor, vote yes. If you are not in favor, you would vote no. Twenty-four yes, 3 no. So the motion is passed. Yeah, 3 no. Okay. ready, Pam? Okay. You guys in the back don't have to leave. It doesn't stay this exciting though. It gets a lot more boring though. Resolution number 9, item number 9, resolution number 14-21. Pam?
Thanking Steve Hansen for his 21 years of service to the residents of Shawano County. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 24th day of March, 2021, that the County of Shawano publicly thanks Steve Hansen for his 21 years of service to the residents of Shawano County, submitted by the Executive Committee.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Kathy Lupke, seconded by Kimberly Leffel. Is there any questions or comments? Steve is retired and he had some personal reasons and other issues going on. He said he'd rather not attend today, but he is very thankful and he was glad to have served for the county as long as he did. And he's enjoying his retirement. So with that, I guess if there's no questions or comments, if you are in favor of resolution number 14-21, you would vote yes. If you are not, you would vote no. Twenty-seven yes, 0 no, the resolution is passed. Item number 10, resolution number 15-21. Pam?
To approve applying for a grant to purchase forensic search and detection equipment for the Sheriff's Office. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 24th day of March, 2021, that it does hereby approve applying for a Capital Credit Union Elevating Communities Grant in the amount of $35,300 for the purchase of a forensics imaging camera system for the Shawano County Sheriff's Office. Be it further resolved that if the grant is awarded, the Public Safety Committee shall oversee the proper receipt and expenditure of any grant funds received, submitted by the Public Safety Committee.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Teresa Serrano, seconded by Randy Young. Questions or comments? Public safety, that would be you, Mark? You have any comments on it? Okay.
It's a fund that Capital Credit Union has for law enforcement. We applied last year, we didn't get anything, so they're applying again. And there's no matching funds required.
Okay. Is there any other questions or comments? Seeing none, everybody must be talked out. If you are in favor of resolution 15-21, you would vote yes. If you are not, you would vote no. $27 yes, 0 no, so the resolution has passed. Item number 11, resolution number 16-21. Pam?
To approve amount not to exceed $42,000 from the Environmental Impact Fund for a replacement high-efficiency water heater. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 24th day of March, 2021, that it does hereby approve the expenditure of a sum not to exceed $42,000 from the Environmental Impact Fund to fund this emergency high-efficiency water heater replacement, submitted by the Capital Improvement Projects Committee.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Kevin, seconded by Richard Verfecki. Questions or comments, anyone? Kevin, you wish to speak on it, or?
Just a quick comment. The project ran over budget, and we needed to come up with some extra funds for it, and that's where we decided as a committee to take the funds from.
Okay. This is the one this was originally budgeted through there.
Yes, it was approved in the capital improvement project.
And everybody should know too that we do have to get approval from the state yet on this 42,000 because it's environmental funds we're using. And we didn't do that. We would wait and see if the board passes. If they do, then we'll see if we can get the blessing from the state, but I don't believe they ever turned us down yet on any of these type resolutions. Randy, Young.
So it was part of the project, but it just ran a little bit over, so you're adding more money to it, is that correct?
Yeah,
I just want to make sure I understood it.
okay. Aaron Damrow.
What project is this? I guess don't really know what,
The,
don't know what's going on.
the high-efficiency water heater, I believe, went out, and
Where?
if I remember right, in the jail, and it's the one that they have for, it's also a high-temperature one. There's two heaters in there. One is for your regular water, and this one provides a very high temperature for cleaning and dishes, them type of things, sanitation issues. Laundry, yep.
And being new to the board, I guess I don't know what the environmental fund is, so.
Years ago, when the ATC built the transmission line through the county, the part of the deal then was that any environmental damage that they did in putting the line in, they had to compensate the areas that they went through. So the county was awarded a pretty good sum of money for that. And the original idea was that it is to be used to offset any environmental damage that was done. But in the meantime, we have to go back to the Public Service Commission if we wish to use some of that money and see if they really approve that it's environmentally related or not. And over the years, we've asked several times, and almost every time they granted it. And this is being done in an emergency case. The project's done, paid for already, but we have to decide where we're going to take the money from.
Thank you. That
Okay.
answers my questions.
Sandy Stanky?
I guess I have a question. How much was the whole project for then? Because it says the cost of replacement was approximately 42,000, which is what we're trying to get, but you said this went over budget, so can you tell me?
It's not necessarily a matter of being over budget, Sandy. We're actually kind of, I guess you could say we're tagging this onto the project because the water heater simply went out, died. And we have to, we need one. It has to
Okay,
be.
so it was not on a KIP project,
It wasn't originally in
but it got pushed
the
up.
work that was being done.
That was just my question. I'm thinking it went $42,000 over.
There was
from
a lot of work
the
done at the
project.
jail, and them projects were all done, and we tagged this one onto that list of items because
So
it was.
wasn't originally on that KIP listing as a
Right.
project. to do.
Yep, that's why
Okay.
it's coming to the full board, because we want to take it out of that fund, and when we're spending that amount of money, we have to bring it before the full board. We can't just decide in KIP or one committee to spend that amount of money.
And who's doing the project?
It's done already.
Who did the project?
That we would have to find out for sure from Mr. Dreyer.
Okay, thank you.
It's one of these, Sandy, like last year when your furnace quit in your house.
Mhm.
Instead of worrying about where it's going to come from, you have to get it fixed right now. So,
Okay, thank you.
any other questions or comments? Seeing none, then if you are in favor of resolution number 16-21, you would vote yes. If you are not, you would vote no. Twenty-seven yes, 0 no. Item number 12. Resolution number 17-21. Pam?
In support of applying for funding through the Wisconsin DNR Targeted Runoff Management Grant Program. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 24th day of March, 2021, that the county conservationist is authorized to submit a signed grant application to the WDNR, and if grant funding is to be received, the Land Conservation Committee shall ensure the benefits of receiving the funding outweigh any restrictions, if any, prior to the execution of the grant agreement between Shawano County and the WDNR. Be it further resolved that the county conservationist, with the oversight and approval of the Land Conservation Committee, is authorized to enter into cost-share agreements with landowners/operators to install best management practices, submit to the WDNR signed documents and reimbursement claims, along with the necessary supporting documentation, and take necessary action to undertake, direct, and complete the approved project. Be it further resolved that that Shawano County shall comply with all state and federal laws, regulations, and permit requirements pertaining to implementation of this project and fulfillment of the grant document provisions submitted by the Land Conservation Committee.
Is there a motion to approve? A motion by Aaron Damro, seconded by Joe Miller. Arlen, I believe this is yours. Would you like to comment or defer to Scott? Okay. Come on up, Scott. If you want to explain it to us quick, what we're looking at?
Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, so this is one of our annual requirements to apply for state funds through the DNR, along with the county requirement to have a resolution to apply for those grant funds. And so this year, we have one project that we're going to apply for. It's for the Christensen Farm in the town of Navarino for a waste management system. To get that farm away from daily hauling manure and the challenges that they have with shallow soils to groundwater is their biggest, and also light sandy soils and the challenges they have to meet the nutrient management plan requirements with the waste spreading. So that's kind of what we're looking at for this go around.
Okay. Is there any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none then, if you are in favor of resolution number 1718-21, excuse me, back up, 17-21, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. $27 yes, 0 no, so the resolution has passed. Item number 13, resolution number 18-21. Pam?
To approve zone change to the official zoning map for Town of Blesser. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 24th day of March, 2021, that it approves the zone change to the official zone map for the Town of Blesser for the following parcel. Parcel ID 028-09220-0050, Paula Mack. This parcel is rezoned from agricultural residential to commercial, submitted by the Planning, Development, and Zoning Committee.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Kevin Conrad, second by Steve Geetz. Steve, do you wish to comment on it?
This is one of those things where Town of Lesser left the county zoning, went on their own, and they approved on a town level, and we just have to give our pat on the back and approval for statutes.
All right. Is there any questions or comments? Seeing none, then if you are in favor of resolution number 18-21, you would vote yes. If you are not, you would vote no. $27 yes, 0 no, so the resolution has passed. I would like to, in all the fun, I missed one comment I was going to make earlier under the chairman's report. So everybody knows, we did interview for the finance director's position, and we made an offer to what appears to be, I thought anyway personally, a very good candidate. And she had some qualities that I was impressed with, like was honesty, and she was right up front with us about any questions she had of how things would work here, and she accepted our offer, and she is due to start the 19th of next month. Now, that's a little bit out of the ordinary to take that long, but where she's currently employed, the business is heavily involved in tax time. And she asked that if we could wait, and well, that's only fair. And that was another one of the qualities that I liked about her, that she had a little loyalty and wasn't ready just to dump where she was working and run to the next thing. And that, her name is Carrie Bunger. And I think she'll be a good candidate. We'll soon find out. So she will be here next month at the meeting, but you'll have to go kind of easier on her because our meeting, remember, is on the 20th. And her starting date is the 19th, so I don't think she's going to be able to answer too many financial questions for us yet by then. Okay. Item number 14, annual reports. We have Building Maintenance Department and the Shawano Library. And as usual, if there's any questions or comments on the annual reports, I would suggest you get a hold of Steve Dreyer for the Maintenance Department or Christy Hauer for the library. And they will be placed on file. Item number 15, report by Finance Committee on general accounts and claims.
February general accounts listing submitted in the amount of $472,502.04.
Okay, is there a motion to approve? Motion by Steve Geets, seconded by Devin Crejon. Is there any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, I believe we do these separate, don't we?
No, together.
Together, invoices and the payroll? Okay, then if you are in favor of February invoices and the committee payroll, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. 27 yes, 0 no, so the bills will be paid. Item number 16, acceptance of committee minutes. Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Aaron Damrow, seconded by John Ainsworth. Any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, then we can do this by acclamation. Are you in, if you are, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 17, board member comments or new business to be considered at future meetings. Joe Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To date, the Stockbridge Muncie Tribe has administered 3,800 doses, vaccines, COVID vaccines. Now, that's doses, not individuals, because some have received 2. And also 250 school teachers throughout the county. We're working with the county to assist in that endeavor. And very proud to be able to be good stewards for this county to assist them. And we are, if you're still, anyone who's still finding or having difficulty, please, by all means, contact our health center, because we are literally vaccinating. We've got lengthy list and getting to that list very rapidly. We have no, we're down to 18 and over. We have no restrictions on
anything.
On anything. So I wanted to report that to the board. We're working very diligently in that regard. And secondly and lastly, my grandfather was a World War I wounded veteran. My father flew tail gunner in a B-52 and at the very end of WW2. Brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, armed service people, my son. So please, by no means, consider a no vote on the earlier amendment as anything disrespectful to our armed services or their memory. Please, because that's not the case. I respect all my veterans here in this room, and I honor them for their service. And with that, thank you very much.
Okay. Aaron, Deb Nofke.
Just a quick question. Can we come up with a more professional sounding title for Mr. Martell? It doesn't say interim though. It says fill in.
That's what he brought it through as.
What's that?
Interim would be better.
Yep.
In court cases and opposing parties, I've heard much worse, so.
Interim would be better.
Just be quiet, Deb. He's happy, and he's doing us really a big favor.
Okay.
And doing
well-
a good job at it, too.
Thank you, Deb.
Okay.
Aaron Damrow.
I would just appreciate an update from the health department next month if she's not busy. I know she's really busy, but
Okay.
brief one.
Terry, I believe, is on vacation right now, Randy, I think? Yes. Yeah. She had requested that, I don't know about.
Well earned.
Yeah, it was quite some time ago that she requested it, and the first thing I said to her is, boy, I said, you give somebody a big job with a big payroll and right away you want some time off. But she's doing a very excellent job. Anybody that I talked to that went to the vaccination clinic that the county has, I haven't had one bad word. They've all been very happy with the very well organized, timely process that they have set up, and it's working good, I guess, so.
I'm sure she can be here next month.
That's fine. I appreciated the last 2 times that she's been here to get a better idea of what the county's doing in response, so
Yeah.
I can share that with people, so.
Piggyback, so the website is set up.
Jimmy.
The website is set up on the county page for citizens to request to get a vaccination over at Lakeland. As Tom mentioned, it's a very smooth operation. They've even got music playing over there now, and everything to kind of jazz it up a little bit. They've started second round shots now for folks actually today, and everything. So, and again, appreciate what the Stockbridge tribe has done, not only for Shawano County, but also our health department. They helped out quite a bit, as well as Menominee. Helped out with taking some of the vaccine when we weren't quite ready to execute. It's moving pretty good. For those citizens who are not on the internet, there is a number for them to call to also get scheduled. And that's been posted in other venues, not just on the internet. It's been in the paper and things like that. So, and also we've executed phone calls when we have extra vaccine to get folks in. We've actually had folks come in that weren't scheduled. And I would just tell you that if you're not necessarily in the categories, the way the state is doing vaccination, check into it, because I would tell you they're very, very broad categories where you quite possibly could be vaccinated right now. So just take a look at it. There's a questionnaire you fill out on our website. It's pretty self-explanatory when you do it, but a lot of good feedback, as Tom had mentioned, a lot of good feedback from folks going through it, so.
Okay.
One other thing, I would appreciate an update on drug.
Oh, okay. I'll see what we can do. Mark Wolin.
I'm just curious why when the departments like the sheriff's department was requesting permission to apply for a grant that cost us nothing, why does it have to come to full county board?
That was a little before your time, I think, Mark. It goes back to some of, like the controversy there is now and then over the Mud Lake area, where we received money from the DNR, and there's a list of just what you can do and can't do with, say, like the property or the money or things way down the road. And at that time, it was decided that they should come to the board. That way, it can be questioned a little more. We don't just rubber stamp getting a grant from somebody and then find out that there's a ton of restrictions that nobody ever really paid attention to. In a bit, in a way. Or maybe there was enough then there was at that time that thought maybe the committees weren't watching close enough, but that's why it's all bought here. Mr. Tipton.
Thank you. I'm curious if the Lakeland building, if that's listed with anyone or?
It's listed with Pfefferly right now. And the only action we had so far was we had one, and I believe it was a local individual, made us an offer. And it was probably about half, I believe, of what we were looking for the property. And we dropped substantially and sent it back to him, and then he come back with, I would say maybe almost like a pittance more of what his original offer was. And we didn't feel we should drop that far, but we kind of, in a roundabout way, told Mr. Dreyer to let Pfefferly know that we still are interested, and we would maybe take less than what we had backed up to, but No comment from him anymore. And it is still for sale, and I believe, wasn't it, Jerry, the last offer from this individual was $225? Yeah. And we started at around 4 and he started at 2. So we dropped to 375 or 350 and he come up to 2 1/4. So I think they were just looking to make a quick buy and see if they could lowball and we would take it. So actually, right now, it's working out for a little while anyway, that it's good we still have it then for the vaccination. Anybody else? Gene, Hoppy. Mike, Gene.
How long are you gonna keep the vaccination going on Lakeland?
As long as there's a need and we can get the vaccines.
Okay, and what vaccines are they giving there, Moderna or who, or what?
I'm not sure, but I don't.
They have Moderna. That's the only vaccine that we've got in Shawano County, for us at least. I'm not sure what the Stockbridge has received. The Johnson and Johnson that you've heard about,
Yeah.
there are some counties getting that. We have not received that yet. And again, that's flowing into the system. It takes a while to start getting that to all the counties. That would be nice. It does really help us with scheduling because it's a 1-shot as opposed to a 2-shot. But we haven't received that yet.
And I believe when you put the request in, Gene, you don't get to pick. They send you what,
Right. That's correct. I
what they
understand
got.
that. I just wondered because there are some counties that got a mobile that are going out where the people can't, it's too far for them to come in or they don't have the transportation to come in.
Okay.
And
We questioned Terry, I believe that came up, didn't it, Randy?
Yes, she's working on it, yeah. Something she's definitely working on for the next step. Is to get
For homebound.
Yes, to get to the people that
Yep.
can't get to the site. She's on it. We
She-
brought that up at the last committee meeting, and yes, she's working
Yep.
on it.
And that's what she responded, is she was, in a short way, she was after the big fish first, and then she was gonna go back and concentrate on them also, but she wanted to get that up and running so you would have a good system going. And then they're still planning to figure out how they can go out and get that done. Right there. That's the chairman of the committee, and it was him and Terry. I can't take any compliments or nothing, Gene. I only always get the, you know what side. Anybody else? Okay. Then we are up to 18, claim report of County Board Supervisors, mileage per diem.
Today, with 27 members present, the total paid was $2,461.80.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Gene Hoppy, seconded by Kathy Lubke. Vote again. Any questions or comments? Seeing none. If you are in favor of getting paid, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. 27 yes, 0 no. Our next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, April 20th, 2021. Per statutes, remember, take note, it's the 20th on a Tuesday too now, not the original or the regular Wednesday time. So with that, we are up to a motion to adjourn. Motion by Tess, seconded by Joe Miller. Questions or comments? I don't think so. If you are in favor of adjourn, aye? Aye.